You know, um, when we think about building something in this world like almost anything,
Yeah.
really, we are entirely conditioned to expect a time lapse.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you plant a tomato seed in the garden and you wait, weeks for a sprout, or you order a custom couch online and you're waiting 2 months for the delivery truck.
Right. Yeah. The supply chain of reality.
Exactly.
Mm.
We just operate under this foundational assumption that there is this built-in buffer zone
Hmm.
between a cause and its effect.
And that processing lag, honestly, that's the comfort zone of the human experience. It's how we assume the entire physical world operates, right?
Yeah.
We rely on it because it feels safe, it feels predictable, and frankly, it gives us a moment to, catch our breath and change our minds before our actions actually catch up to us.
Right, like a cancellation window on an order. But then you encounter the architecture of our inner world, and suddenly that comforted buffer zone just completely
It's
vanishes.
just gone.
It's gone. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are synthesizing insights from this really fascinating, dense piece of somatic philosophy and psychology today, and it completely rewrites the rules of cause and effect.
It really does. It flips everything on its head.
Yeah, because we are looking at a framework where the lag time between what you hold inside yourself
Mhm.
and what becomes real is, well, it's zero.
Right. It is the absolute definition of instantaneous. And exploring this material completely upends how we understand our own emotional reactions, the reality we experience, and honestly, the terrifying amount of power we actually hold in any given moment.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The mission for you, the listener, today is simple but pretty profound. We are going to deconstruct this framework to help you understand why you sometimes have those massive, earth-shattering emotional overreactions to tiny things.
Yeah, those moments that just blindside you.
Exactly. And more importantly, how to harness your internal state to regain control. So we're exploring the partnership between the heart and the mind. And the most shocking premise we have to start with is this creation is instant. There is no 6 to 8 week delivery time for reality.
Yeah, so we are going to break down this text's concept of the unified heart mind and show you exactly how this applies to your daily life. Because the text argues that there is absolutely zero processing lag between what you hold inside and what becomes real.
Wow.
Creation is happening right now. Like it was happening while you were listening to that last sentence.
Which is, that's a lot to wrap your head around. We are so used to thinking of the mind and the heart as these two, like, completely separate systems.
Right.
We treat them like they live in different time zones and occasionally send, passive-aggressive emails to each other to check in.
That's a great way to put
But
it.
this text says, no, they are co-generators. They're a single, continuous creative apparatus, and they never, ever turn off.
No, they don't. They are an engine, and they have very distinct roles within that engine. So the mind generates orientation.
Okay, orientation.
Right. It's the part of you that makes sense of reality, classifies things, names them, and builds the narratives that allow you to just, navigate your day. It's basically the ultimate map maker.
Got it.
The heart, on the other hand, generates resonance. It feels into the truth of things. It produces that undeniable quality of like physical aliveness. And critically, according to the source material, the heart magnetizes.
Right. And we need to clarify that because the text is not using magnetize as some nice poetic metaphor here.
No, no, not
It
a.
means something highly functional.
What's fascinating here is how the text positions the heart not as a metaphor, but as the actual locus of attraction. When we talk about the heart magnetizing reality, it can sound a bit like magic.
Yeah, a little esoteric.
Exactly. But we are talking about a highly observable physiological and psychological mechanism.
Hmm.
A core feeling fundamentally changes your posture, your microexpressions, the subtle tone of your voice, and all those subconscious choices you make minute by minute.
Right.
And that altered state literally pulls specific reactions out of the people and the environment around you. The action that matters is always internal first.
That makes sense. But neither the heart nor the mind can really do the job alone.
Exactly.
The text points out something that feels incredibly relatable. A mind running without a heart just produces these hollow conclusions. Like, think about taking a job that looks absolutely perfect on paper.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Right. The salary is great, the commute is short, the title is prestigious. It makes complete logical sense. But then you sit at the desk and it feels utterly wrong in your body.
Yeah, that is a state that is technically coherent to the brain, but practically useless to the human.
Yes.
And the inverse is just as problematic. A heart operating without the mind's grounding just becomes reactive, emotional static.
Like when you wake up anxious and you just kind of flail all day.
Precisely. You get overwhelmed by sensory input, and you just cannot distinguish between a genuine protective intuition and just ambient noise. But when they align, when what you think matches what you genuinely feel, the text calls this coherence or
The
one-pointedness.
unified heart-mind. It's when you finally stop broadcasting contradictory signals,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And this brings us to an analogy that I think really grounds this whole instant creation concept.
Right.
Like we were saying earlier, we usually think of cause and effect like ordering something online and waiting for the mail.
Right.
But the text says the inner shift is actually an instant download.
Hmm.
By the time the physical form shows up externally in your life, you're just watching the delivery truck pull up.
Yeah, and that time delay is what tricks us into thinking the internal shift didn't matter. The physical form takes time to assemble, yes. People
Yeah.
have to move, conversations have to happen, events have to align.
Right, the logistics of reality.
Exactly. But the causative event, the shift in your inner state that makes that physical form inevitable, that happened the exact millisecond. Your heart and mind reached an agreement.
Wow.
You are the architect, and the blueprint is instantly approved the very moment you feel it and think it simultaneously.
Okay, but if the engine is running instantly and it's approving blueprints the second they are drafted, what happens when it locks into an agreement about something that is, untrue or something deeply fearful?
Well, the engine does not judge the content.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it creates that reality instantly with the exact same fidelity, the exact same speed, and the same power as it would if you were focused on profound joy or love. It just builds whatever you feed it.
So I must be giving it blueprints without even realizing it.
Oh, constantly.
What do those accidental blueprints look like? Because this brings us to a really fascinating part of the text. It directly explains the phenomenon of the crash out.
Yes, the crash out.
You know the feeling. It's when you have a massive emotional collapse over something incredibly tiny, like an unanswered text message, or a weird passive-aggressive look from a coworker during a morning status meeting.
Or just a casual dinner plan falling through.
Exactly. The text says the crash out isn't actually caused by that external trigger.
No, it's not. The crash out is a conclusion. It is the final completion of a creative act that was already quietly building inside you for days, weeks, or even months.
Wait, I'm genuinely struggling with this. Let me just push back on that for a second, because I know what you, the listener, might be thinking right now.
Sure, go ahead.
If a toxic coworker talks over me in a meeting, and I get absolutely furious and have a meltdown in the break room, are you honestly saying I built that reality?
Yeah.
That feels a lot like blaming the victim, doesn't it?
Sounds like it, yeah.
Like, how is that not just a natural, biologically appropriate reaction to a bad environment and a rude person?
It is the most natural question to ask, really. But the text offers a level of cosmological precision here that reframes this entirely. It does not excuse the rude coworker, but it asks you to look at your own internal architecture.
Like how so?
If you had genuinely built inner coherence around your own worth and your own professional stability, a small external wobble, like someone talking over you, would only produce a small internal wobble. You would observe it, you would think, well, that was incredibly rude, you might address it calmly, and you would just move on. Because your internal ground is solid rock.
I see. So going back to the delivery truck, the truck arrives with a package of rudeness, but you just refuse to sign for it, and you go about your day.
Precisely. You don't accept the delivery. But a meltdown, a true crash out, means you had a persistent subsignal running long before that meeting even started.
Oh, wow.
You had a quiet belief humming somewhere underneath your awareness that you are only as okay as your last piece of external validation, or a fear that your ideas are worthless. So when the external validation drops, your internal structure doesn't just wobble. The match hits a structure of fear that was waiting for exactly this moment to declare itself as the truth.
That makes so much sense. Like, think of that exact moment you send a risky text message to someone you're dating. You put the phone face down, 10 minutes pass, you hear nothing.
Oh, the agony of those 10 minutes.
Right. Your mind immediately starts spinning narratives. They hate me, I came on too strong, I'm going to be alone forever. Your chest tightens. According to this text, right in that 10-minute gap, you are actively manufacturing your reality.
You are building it block by block.
The unanswered text is just the final block pulled from the Jenga tower. The crash out isn't a collapse at all. It's the heart and mind showing you what they just finished building.
Exactly. They are saying, here is the reality of abandonment you have been quietly agreeing to all month. It's finished. Here it is, all at once. That is why the emotion always feels so disproportionate to the event. You didn't realize how much material was in there because you were making these small, quiet agreements that compounded over time.
Which naturally leads us to ask, how are we building these negative structures without even realizing it? The text warns about specific small mistakes.
Right.
It notes that they are usually quiet agreements that we mistake for harmless observations.
Yeah.
Like saying to yourself, I notice he hasn't called, or I notice I'm probably asking for too much.
And the danger there is that those are not neutral observations. They are positions.
Physicians.
Yes. When you say, I notice I'm asking for too much, your heart magnetizes that feeling of being a burden. It adopts the physical posture of a burden. Your mind narrates it into a solid reality. You are generating a lived experience where you are, in fact, too much for the people around you.
Oh, that is so subtle, but so damaging. And the text points out that the absolute most dangerous error we make in this process is something called the secondary response.
This is a huge concept in the material, yeah.
It's how you react to that very first flicker of anxiety or discomfort. And there are three really common, really bad secondary responses we all fall into.
We all do it.
Yeah. The first one is dismissing it. So you feel off on a Tuesday afternoon, a little tight in the chest, and you immediately wave it away and say, that's silly, I'm totally fine.
And by doing that, you instantly create a reality where your own felt sense is untrustworthy.
Wow.
You have essentially told your internal alarm system to shut off because it's broken. You abandon your own somatic truth.
The second bad response is performing certainty. Like this is the classic family dinner scenario.
Oh, definitely.
You feel intensely anxious or disconnected, so you overcompensate. You slap on a massive smile, you talk a little too loud, and you declare, everything with my job is actually great. Wait, so when I feel off, and I try to manage that discomfort by slapping a brave face on and performing certainty for a room full of people, I'm actually breaking my own engine because my signals contradict.
Exactly. You are creating a reality that is structurally brittle. Because the performance is fake, it requires constant, exhausting, energetic maintenance to uphold.
That's why you feel so drained.
Yes. You feel completely drained at the end of that dinner because your mind was shouting, everything is great, while your heart was humming with dread. That lack of coherence fractures your creative power.
That is wild. Okay, and the third bad response is spiraling. You feel a flicker of anxiety on a Sunday evening and decide, well, this means everything in my life is wrong, my career is a joke, and it always will be.
Which instantly creates the very desolate landscape you fear. What the text is really warning us about is that all three of these secondary responses, dismissing, performing, and spiraling, they take you entirely away from the actual signal.
Right, the raw data.
Yes. The raw feeling, that baseline anxiety, was always trying to tell you something true about your present moment, but you chose to manage the feeling instead of just receiving it.
But okay, if managing the feeling creates a worse reality, how on earth are you supposed to access the actual truth of the moment when your mind is racing like 50 miles a minute?
You have to go slower than everything in you wants to go.
Slower.
Much slower. The mind is incredibly fast, and its primary job is to classify. It will rush to label a feeling with a familiar, well-worn story. It says, oh, my chest is tight. That must mean I'm being abandoned again, just like last time.
But the actual felt sense is pre-linguistic. The body responds to what is actually here right now before your brain has a chance to interpret it or write some dramatic script about it.
Right.
The literal tightness in the chest, the heat in the back of the neck, or the loosening in the belly, that is the truth carrier.
And this requires a crucial, fundamental shift in how we interrogate ourselves. We have to stop asking, what does this feeling mean?
That's a trap.
It is a total trap. That question immediately pulls you up into the mind, into narrative, into history and interpretation. It is a departure from the truth of the present. Instead, you have to ask, what is this feeling?
What is it? Just the raw sensation.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
heat, tightness, weight, cold. That keeps you in contact with the reality of the moment. And from there, you can start to practice discernment. The text says we have to learn to distinguish between a present tense feeling and a conclusion feeling.
A vital distinction. A present tense feeling has movement. It has texture, nuance, and it develops or changes in response to your attention. If you sit with it honestly, without judging it, it breathes. It leads you somewhere new.
I sort of picture it as the difference between being on a live video call versus watching a pre-recorded video.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. A present tense feeling is live. You are in it, you say something, it shifts, it responds to you, the lighting changes. But a conclusion feeling, That's an old completed creation. It's just a recording playing on a loop.
Yes.
It feels flat, it feels sealed off, it heavily insists on its own truth. And if you try to question it, it doesn't change. The recording just argues back with more force. You can't interact with it because the event is already finished.
The live call says, look at what is happening here right now. The recording says, it is already over and you lost.
Wow, that's heavy.
This raises an important question, though. Once you recognize that you are trapped in the playback of a conclusion feeling, that you are mid-crash out, how do you actually deal with it? Because, as the test points out, you cannot unmake a completed creation by arguing with it.
Right, you can't scream at a pre-recorded video and expect the person on the screen to answer you. You're just draining your own energy. So how do we escape this loop? The text offers a really actionable, grounded solution for reclaiming your personal power here. And paradoxically, the dealing with looks like doing almost nothing at all.
It really does. It is the practice of returning to the raw sensory reality.
Yeah.
You land so fully in the present physical moment that the concluded creation simply loses its claim on your attention.
Oh.
You notice that your breath is moving in and out of your lungs, the body is warm, the chair is supporting your weight, the room is exactly as it was 10 minutes ago.
You realize that the catastrophe lives entirely in the finished creation, that story that is playing on loop in your head. But the actual present reality, just sitting in this room, taking this breath, is survivable. It's often perfectly okay.
Yeah.
The motion the text suggests is beautifully simple. Receive, then redirect.
And notice the instruction is not to suppress. You redirect.
Yeah.
You receive what the crash out showed you. Because remember, these crash outs are not evidence of your personal failure.
Oh.
They do not mean you are fundamentally broken. That is just another old, toxic conclusion playing on loop.
They are a map.
They are an incredibly detailed map, showing you exactly where your heart and mind made unauthorized agreements. It shows you the glaring gap between what you say you believe about yourself and what you actually believe at the deep somatic level where creation happens.
Oh, wow.
So you look at the map, you see where you went wrong, and then you deliberately choose not to feed that specific creation any more material. You shift your focus, you redirect.
But so what does this all mean for you, the listener, when someone else is genuinely at fault? Because a lot of times, crash outs happen in relationships. What happens when someone else actually did something wrong? Like they lied to you, they dismissed your feelings, they dropped the ball on a major project.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture of relational sovereignty, it is absolutely true that other people contribute to the landscape of your life. At a material level, they do things that land in your experience. They bring paint to the canvas.
Okay.
But the conclusion that formed inside you, the crash out itself, the despair, the absolute collapse, that is entirely yours.
Because it completed in your own heart-mind apparatus.
Exactly. The other person cannot crash you out of a creative foundation that is genuinely solid. They can provide the match, sure, but they didn't build the gasoline-soaked structure of insecurity.
Wow.
Your creative process is entirely sovereign. It cannot be delegated to your partner, your boss, or your parents. External conditions are the canvas, you are the artist, and the brush is the agreement between your heart and your mind.
I love that visual. It might sound like a heavy responsibility at first, almost daunting, but it is actually incredibly freeing.
It really is.
Because it means you do not have to wait for other people to magically change their behavior or apologize or suddenly treat you perfectly before you can start creating a different reality for yourself. The creation begins inside you, regardless of what storm is happening outside.
It is a fundamental reorientation of where your power lives. Life proceeds from you. It does not just happen to you.
And that is the ultimate takeaway for you today. The text leaves us with this beautiful, empowering reassurance. The heart-mind system is highly sensitive, yes, but the exact same extreme sensitivity and zero-lag immediacy that makes small mistakes compound into massive crash-outs
Right.
is the exact same mechanism that allows small, honest corrections to compound into grounded certainty just as fast.
Yes, it moves in both directions with the exact same speed. A whisper of misalignment causes a crash, but a whisper of true somatic honesty builds immediate clarity.
The only question that matters is what your heart and mind are agreeing about right now in this exact present moment.
Which leaves us with one final thought for you to mull over as you go about your day.
We've talked about how creation is instant and how our raw physical sensations hold the pre-linguistic truth of what our heart and mind are agreeing upon. We usually think of physical tension like that perpetually tight shoulder you've had for months, or the clenched jaw when you look at your inbox, as just a biological reaction to a stressful environment.
Right, a lag time consequence of a hard day at the office.
But if there is no lag time, what if your chronic physical tension isn't just a reaction? What if it is the physical storage of an ongoing quiet agreement that your mind and heart are constantly broadcasting?
Oh, that's fascinating.
If creation is truly instant, and the body is the canvas of the heart-mind, what reality is your posture creating for you right this second?
That is a profound thing to consider.
Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and pay attention to the signal you're sending. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.